So my bad luck continues.
Yeah.
I've had a shitty week overall, for sure. But let me try to paint some of the broader strokes. Some of the strokes I'm going to keep to myself, so to speak, per usual, I guess. And some of the strokes I'm going to put out there, also per usual. If you remember last week, I talked to you about being robbed through PayPal and through the bank and so on and so forth.
Identity thefting, yes.
Yeah. So I wasn't robbed. I was trying to figure it all out. I'm trying to get everything rocking and rolling, and then I get a text message from Chris. That's a picture message that $13 of $22 that I sent him has been retracted due to insufficient funds. And then Chris sends me like the super embarrassed for you face, like.
Well, no, Bobby. What I sent you was that it says something about based on an investigation, your bank has refunded the money or whatever, but it was that weird amount.
Right. So
yeah.
So then I'm like, well, fuck, and I see the amount, and the amount is very reminiscent to me because it's $13 and such cents, the same amount of money that I was supposedly robbed for recently. So I go into my PayPal account, and I find out that Speculative Fiction has had $402 of their money returned to me. So I'm like, what in the actual fuck? I get on the phone with Chris. I'm trying to figure out what has happened. There's a slight echo on somebody's part, just FYI. And I say like, okay, so $1,000 I sent to Speculative Fiction, and 400 of it is back. $22 I sent to Chris, and 13 of it is back. I got to get on the phone with PayPal. So I get on the phone with PayPal, and they say to me, well, I know it's confusing, but sometimes we front the money and then take it out of your account later. And I said, what? So I guess I didn't, but I have 2 MasterCards linked to my PayPal, and I guess I linked the wrong one that I don't use anymore. It's expired. So when I paid the $1,000, they sent the $1,000, then they went to go get it from my bank account or from my credit card. But the one I selected, I guess, was the expired one, and it defaulted to my bank account. So it reached into my bank account for that $400, and it just says PayPal transaction. It has zero information as to what that transaction is about. And then I go into my PayPal history, and there's zero history that says $400. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's like, so that's why it's confusing. I was like, well, fuck. Okay, so now I go to the bank, and I'm trying to unlock everything, and I'm trying to get it all situated. So as of this morning, it is almost all situated, with the one thing being that I got to still pay the $400 to Speculative Fiction. It has been a nightmare dealing with this all week, but it is almost over.
I did get $22 from you today. Thank you, Bob.
Correct. It has unlocked. I'm allowed to use my PayPal account now. I've been a good boy.
This is not an actual identity theft, I guess.
It's not a what?
An actual identity theft thing?
Mm-mm.
It's just you?
Not at all. Yep. It's just me and my luck and the cyclone of technology that surrounds me. I'm gonna continue on.
You.
So I'm home.
And now that you say that about PayPal, I mean, I use PayPal a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Literally probably as much as my primary, bank. Yep. Anything outside of paying my actual bills is mostly done through PayPal.
Right.
Yep.
And now that I think about it, yeah, oftentimes I will pay somebody or pay for something with PayPal, and then like 3 days later, I'll get a notification that you've paid so-and-so this amount. I'm like, oh, okay.
And
so when anything comes out of my PayPal, I get a Facebook message, a text, and an email, and a PayPal notification through the app.
So my problem was that it was like 2 weeks later, and it had no information as to where the money was going. It just said PayPal transaction.
Yeah.
With no additional information. So, anyway, lesson learned. I had another problem with PayPal. So, I sold some bottle openers, right?
Okay.
I created nice shipping labels for them. I was like, this is going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy. I don't have a printer, so I was going to go use somebody I know's.
Printer, really? I thought I'd seen a printer in your house before.
No, yeah, I've had one from time to time, but I feel like they break within a year, and we just have to buy another one, and we haven't bought another one.
Oh, it's like Chris and his like stack of like 6 printers in his basement.
Yeah,
Well, I will tell you, I had a yes. Me and the printer almost came to blows the other day. It almost went in the yard, but my wife backed me down.
So I am on record saying I don't think a piece of technology has been perfected since the VCR. Everything afterwards has got flaws and issues.
Sure.
So I hate fucking printers. I hate fucking buying ink. It's a whole fucking racket. I hate.
I've got some things to tell you about that makes it a whole lot easier. But
yeah, but please send me the Cliff Notes.
well, I mean, the Cliff Notes is Hewlett Packard has a program where they just send you ink when you need it, and it's like $10 a month. You can print as much as you want to.
The problem is that I don't print all that much. Like I think I would have so far this year I would have used my printer 3 times.
Okay, I'm playing devil's advocate. I know people love that.
Yeah.
How many things have you looked at that you had to ship?
How many things have I looked at?
Robert D sent me this. Well, how does that get back to Robert D?
Oh! I've gone to the post office for sure.
Okay.
But you're saying that I could have just created the label at home and then printed it. Yep, you're right. You're right about that.
And then just take it, even if you don't have to stand in line and wait on them to weigh it and rob you for more money than you need to spend. And
yeah, I know that.
Here is pretty good though, right? I mean, it's close. It's like literally down the street, and there's never a line basically.
Yeah, it's a nice one to deal with, and they're very nice people in there. But I also I did all of these PayPal shipping transactions for these bottle openers and stuff recently. I got to tell you, hasn't been cheap via what you call it. But I'm not sure it would be any. I don't say that to say that it would be any cheaper walking into my post office, but it was surprisingly expensive.
so, okay, we're going to talk about this. Tell me, Bobby, you shipped a bottle. Like, by the way, it's amazing when you tell people you have shit for sale that they buy it.
I know.
It's like a goddamn blessing or a curse or both. Or
yeah, I appreciate it. I just I just feel slimy doing it. Yes. Anyway, yes, you are.
Only a you thing.
Don't feel slimy because you're not doing cons this year to sell your shit.
That's true.
So people want to buy your shit, and you have shit to sell. So let's say you sold a bottle opener. How much did it cost to ship said bottle opener?
So I don't think. So here's the problem with that question. I think I only most people bought 2.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, I can't remember. I'll tell you this: a pack of coasters, $7 and some change
For priority shipping. Yeah, that's about right.
That's fucking crazy. Like,
well, how much did it weigh?
Like, gods, it's nothing. It's
so if it's under 16 ounces, you can ship it first class, and it's like $4.
Yeah, and I probably should have just done that. I'm always like, well, people have to take care of the people. And it doesn't matter. But yeah, I know. I could be smarter about shipping. I'm not good at it. I don't know my way around it. I'm usually in a fucking rush. I don't know the hustle of it all. I feel like there's always like angles. Like I talk to you, or I talk to people that like use it all the time. Greg was another one. And they're like, no, you got to go through this, and then you click stamps.com and you select the Statue of Liberty, and that gets you 20 cents off. And I'm like, God bless.
I don't do any of that shit. Right. I use the link I showed you, and what we're doing now is using the Shopify store. So I just go in and say, click, print, stick them on, and fucking go.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds awesome to me. And I mean, this one has been easier. To be fair, it was surprisingly expensive. So I had to. Long story long, I was 1 hour late. You only have 24 hours to print the label, which is another thing I didn't know. It is there. It's on the label. It's in small black print down at the bottom. I feel like it should be big red print up at the top, but maybe I'm a more simple man. So
wait a minute, hang on. You're telling me PayPal says you only have
24 hours.
Okay. You can go back into the transaction and reprint the label.
Yeah, but when you go back into the transaction and reprint the label, it says the time has exceeded to print this label. That's what I did. I
think PayPal just says it has a flag on you for being dumb or something, Bobby. Because I mean, I use that function. I've done that dozens of times, and I've never had it say, "Oh, you can't print the label again."
No, not that you can't print it again. I can't print it after 24 hours. And it's a USPS thing. It's not a PayPal thing, because I called PayPal yesterday, and we had to talk about that, too. We've been on the phone a lot, PayPal and I, recently. And they can't do it. They can't give you any they can't give you any kind of leeway. 24 hours is 24 hours. There's a couple things that can't be done in this world. They can't put a man on Mars, and they can't reprint a label after 24 hours. These are the things that cannot be done. So I had to go back in and void all of them, and then go back in, and I got to make more today. And I'm going to go just buy another printer. But so I just, it's been rocky. And the surprising news is that's been the good part of my week. So let me continue. I'm home today, and I'm going to be home for a week, because I found out at the old mopping gig that I was had a primary exposure to COVID from 2 different people without any PPE within 6 feet.
Oh boy.
The good news is it has been, as of right this moment, well, in, was 9:30, 2.5 hours, it will have been 7 days total that I have since my exposure, and I have 0 symptoms other than this pain in my dick that PayPal's created. So that's the good news, and hopefully it continues to go that route. But just added stress and everything else. Yeah. And let's see, I saw Midsummer.
Oh, have you not seen that before?
I have not seen that before.
What'd you think?
Trash.
Yeah, it's just fucking crazy white people doing crazy white people things, right?
Yeah, and it's for 2.5 hours, dude, and it's like a lot of pans and chants. Like, that movie could have been an hour and 35 minutes and been probably pretty solid with a better ending. It needed a better ending.
I mean, it was over. I was okay with the ending, but I think it was overrated. It was so hyped up at the time. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I do.
It came off the heels of Hereditary, which was great. Yeah.
It's like they kind of fell into tropes. They're like, okay, we need a dance, we need some chanting, we need a person with a severe physical deformity. You know what I mean? And they just checked every box, but the story just isn't there.
Nope.
Nope.
I mean, it was interesting at first, but then I think it would have been better if it was shorter.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I absolutely.
You know what's going on halfway through the movie.
It's 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it could have been 1 hour 45 minutes. That would have been.
I'm like, all right, what are we gonna do tonight? We're gonna do Braveheart, or are we gonna do Midsummer? You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be that long.
It didn't.
I'm trying to think if I did anything else. Pop Smoke's album went number 1 on Billboard Top 200, so I was happy about that. Even though I'm not crazy about the album, I was happy for the success of it.
He did.
Yeah, for sure. And the suspects, 5 suspects were arrested and result to his demise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's more good news.
That's weird that they ever catch that kind of stuff.
I know. Well, I guess that's what happens when you get killed in Beverly Hills. The neighbors are like, no, we're not going for this shit. You better find these motherfuckers. We don't want them anywhere near this neighborhood ever again.
I don't know. It's weird to me because as a child growing up, right, you get taught that you don't fucking commit crimes because you're gonna get caught. But as you grow up and you have any kind of experience with crime, on either the dealing end or the receiving end, you realize that bullshit just don't get caught. They just fall through the crack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even murders, just fucking no evidence, can't find. That's it. Game over.
It was funny. When the guy who shot Pac, everybody was talking about that, on YouTube. It's this guy that did it, and still didn't get arrested for it.
Yeah. So it's weird.
I'm trying to think if I did. Oh, I got the Marvel Legends Strong Guy wave. Look, man, I got to tell you, there is nothing that has been quite as satisfying to me in the Marvel Legends line, at least, as finally having a strong guy, so to speak.
That's ridiculous. Not that there's anything wrong with strong guy, but to be so excited over strong guy,
so to speak. I think that it's it's just one of those things where it's something I thought would never happen. It used to be a joke that they would say at the reveals at San Diego. Do you know what I mean? They'd be like, next year we got some exciting stuff coming. It definitely won't be a strong guy because we're never doing him. But you know what I mean? It was that kind of thing that they did all the time. And they've been doing that for years.
Do you think part of it is because of what his name was prior, and they didn't want any smoke off of that?
What was his name prior?
His name was Guido.
Oh yeah, that's just for him. Yeah.
But like it's Marvel Legends though. They fucking make every goddamn thing. Like you knew it was coming. It's not like fucking third party. Oh, no, it's not third party. It's not like Masterpiece Transformers where no one's coming.
Right.
Like eventually they'll get to they'll get the random pedestrian for fucking Marvel Legends.
Morlocks.
Yeah.
That would be a cool box set for an exclusive.
Yeah, I think there's. I mean, the well is huge, but you know their production capability is bigger.
Yeah, and I mean they're
It's
pumping
just
out.
decide to put out like 24 Iron Mans and 56 fucking
Right.
Deadpool. That holds out the production of new stuff.
And Spider-Mans and Wolverines.
Yeah.
I think that like that they put out probably how many cases would you say or waves would you say they put out a year, Pinkerton?
So I know, gosh, I think I counted it in 2018. They put out 175 figures. That's counting box sets. I mean, some of it was repaints, but if you wanted all in everything, SDCC, all the store exclusives, it was something around like 175. And I would imagine it's 200 now. So 200 times. I mean, you're spending $4,000 a year on Marvel Legends.
No way
you're all in.
Strong guy eventually.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, so you know who's my next
Big want.
Yeah, my big like they'll never make her in this case is Megan from Excalibur.
You never know.
Yeah, that's going to be my new push. I feel like if I play it like they're never going to make it, then I'll get it eventually. It seems to be the way it's going.
Quite possible.
Let's see if I got anything else. It's worth talking about. Like that Fans Toys Wild Rider. I swear, I'm still not over that thing. That thing is fucking perfect. Pretty close to it anyway.
That company's doing some interesting shit.
Yeah,
like re-releasing shit and.
Yep. And it seems like limited runs. It's what it seems like. It's very strange. Very strange.
Did you hear a rumor that something about reissuing Dinobots?
Yes, I did hear that rumor. Okay. So if you got them and you want to sell them, now's the time, boys. Maybe.
Yeah, secondary market's going to tank. But like, their business model seems to be exactly the same as Bandai right now, which I mean, it works out for Bandai great.
Right.
Like release limited figures that are top dollar, and then repaint, and then wait a while, and then re-release. So like you get to release it 3 times at top dollars.
Right.
And then also keep your name up because it's until because like after a while like with Bandai stuff now I look at it when they have limited release, I'm like, it's gonna come out. I just gotta wait. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, but there's some people who still wants that first release action. So
yeah, and I'll tell you, like, people like, well, it's selling out. Like, you gotta pre-order the shit. Like, this is not the company you can't pre-order with. You have to.
Yeah. Unless you want to wait like 3 years for reprint.
Right. It's just you can't play around. So that's the way around that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else worthwhile or noteworthy. Most of it has been problem, just dealing with the bank, dealing with the PayPal, getting reviews done, getting videos done, getting COVID, and like, dude, I will say this: Leia has been doing this thing recently, man. Where like she says we're best friends, and like, so like she'll come down in the morning and like I'll be getting coffee or whatever. She'll be like, "Hey, Daddy," and I'll turn around and say, "Your best friend awake." Like she works me over like she plays me like a heart from hell. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If there is, I'll bring it up. I haven't really watched a whole lot. I really haven't had a whole lot of time. I did do some diorama work. I did like a really simple one, but that's really effective. But I can't talk about it right now. And yeah, that's it. Let's go the opposite way today. Joe, how was your nerd week?
Let's see. Rest in peace, Grant Imahara. Just found out he died this morning.
Yeah, I saw that too, man.
That fucking sucks.
Brain aneurysm.
Yeah, at 49. And he was like a chill, fucking calm dude.
Give us
you think I would have an aneurysm, not that guy.
Give me the info on this dude. Give me the resume.
He was the Asian guy on MythBusters.
I'm sorry.
He was the Asian guy in Mythbusters.
Oh. Okay. I thought
He's a lot more than that, but like that's what most people know him. And like
Yeah.
Mythbusters, he was like the engineer guy. He did BattleBots. Like I don't know if you remember when BattleBots was out, Bobby.
I don't know.
When people like made like little robots that fought each other.
Oh yeah.
That's when he first. That was his like debut. But he did a lot of engineering work for like props and like robotics for like even like Jurassic Park, Terminator, fucking a lot of shit.
Gotcha.
He did stuff for Star Wars prequels.
Oh, no kidding.
Robot work for Star Wars prequels.
For like the battle droids and stuff, I guess.
I'm not sure exactly what, but I know he's credited for it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So like that's I know it sounds dumb to a lot of people, especially people who don't fucking get it, but like representation matters, man. Like that guy, like not only did I like him a lot, like as a person, as a person you see on TV, and anyone who's ever met him has always had nothing but good things to say about him. But he also representing like my people's like.
And I think it's and listen, I obviously can't share any experiences from that point of view that you have, Joe. But I think it's important to see people of different creeds and colors in positions that are outside of the norm of what you would expect for that.
Yeah, I think
to see a scientist basically or an engineer, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it just stinks, man.
Yeah, man, it sucks. So. Thoughts and prayers to that guy and his family.
For sure.
Let's see. I'm continuing on my listening to a no sleep creepypasta to work. This week's recommendations are For Search and Rescue series, the Coast Guard Stories series, and My Property Isn't Normal series. Those three are all great.
Right.
And My Name is Slowly Mad Whip. That's also a pretty good one if like if you're into the comedy aspect of it. It's about a 9-year-old girl who can predict things like shortly before they happen, and then like fucking bad shit always happens around her, so it's fun.
He can see things before they happen. He can help you. He was meant to help you.
Is that a Nicolas Cage movie?
That's Anakin.
No, but that's a Nicolas Cage movie that like, oh my god. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's Chris. I don't know why I would think you would be the one who knows, but you know what I'm talking about? That was a movie with Nicolas Cage where he can see things happen right before they happen.
I want to go on record and say I love that he thinks Chris would know. Continue.
No, I've got the box art in my head.
Right? I'm going to look at Nicolas Cage movies sees the future. Let me see what comes up. 2007 film called Next.
Yes, that's it. Yes, it's like he can see like 10 minutes in the future or some shit. It's just like, yeah.
And it doesn't help for a lot of things because like 10 minutes is not enough to fucking like change the thing. I think that's a curse, right? You get to know bad things that happen, but like not soon enough to like do anything about it.
Right.
That's fucking awful. Let's see. I guess I didn't do too much either. Oh, Krista's. I don't know if I've said it on here, but like Krista is going to be on a cover of Vampirella, and we just found out like she's going to be on 3 covers actually.
That's awesome.
We just told last weekend.
I have questions about this.
Yes.
Was she picked or did she submit?
I have no idea. The photographer contacted her.
So the photographer took the pictures.
Uh-huh.
The photographer probably submitted them, I'm guessing.
Maybe. I have no idea.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And is somebody getting
but
paid?
3 covers though. It's pretty fucking.
Yeah. Is somebody getting paid? See, that would be my next question. I'd be on the phone with the photographer, like, what's the splits on this, buddy?
Like, to be fair,
fucking Universal Music Group of fucking photographers.
How much is Vampirella selling? I don't even fucking know.
I have no clue.
I know my buddy at the I know she's gonna get a few copies of each at least. I don't know how many.
That's cool.
From the studio, but I'm also reserving some with my buddy that owns a comic book store. He said for every 25 you get 1 virgin cover. The one without text on it. It's just a picture. So like
that's awesome, man. I love having something that you do kind of immortalized. You know, like
man.
there's no
like
that's a
PMI's toys box art.
well, I mean, yes.
Don't laugh.
Yeah, I mean, it's
out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's something. It's like there's no taking that back. That's something that always is there. You know, like I like. Even though the Moss Toys thing is like a joke, and even if it was fucking a Fans Toys thing, I would turn it into a joke because I'd be uncomfortable about it. It's the fact that like it's a little thing of like, man, I contributed something to it, and that mark is made. You know, big or small, that mark is made.
Like it's
No, I agree. Congratulations to Krista.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll get you guys some copies. Not that you have to do anything with them. You can sell them.
No, I'll frame one. I'll frame one and put it in the basement
next to our other pictures.
Yeah, that I got to do something with that corner. I got something.
Is it piling up?
It's becoming unsightly. I got to do something about that. But that's further down the line.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing work. You're putting it in work,
dude.
In your whole house in your basement, like on the regular.
It's getting closer and closer and closer to where I want it. Oh, I know. I got reviews coming on Patreon, but I got a quick sidebar. I got the Storm Collectibles Injustice, Doomsday, and Lobo.
Perfect,
dude.
Yeah, I figured.
So it's another one of those things where it's like I'm not sure if I'm happy with them because they're good, or if I'm happy with them because they're DC toys that don't suck.
Well.
Or yes.
It's the same thing, basically?
Yeah. But it's like I'm so used to buying shitty DC toys, you know what I mean? That like I'm like, holy fuck.
Like Storm is his own thing now, you know?
Yeah. I just hope that they cut a wider swath. But
I mean, no, just giant dudes. That's all you're gonna get. You're not. Don't worry about fucking Power Girl or Supergirl or Wonder Woman. Don't worry about that shit.
Yeah, you can't even get a stealthy dude. Like you know what I mean?
No.
Like that
Just
dude must have some kind of complex, man. And I say that with all due respect, but he's like that dude loves to make a big dude.
Hey man, you like what you like.
Yeah, which is fine. But it's like, man, you got to diversity. Like everybody's talking about diversity. Like let's diversify Storm Collectibles a little bit.
I mean, like as a kid, like I'm not a kid, I used to draw, like for fun, like comic book style stuff, like everybody did. But like I would always only draw big dudes, also, right? And like to this day, like I can probably put on paper like other types of figures, but like I can draw a big dude with my eyes closed.
I used to draw a lot of dicks. I remember that shit was super bad. Like I was working on this big veiny triumphant bastard.
So let's look at it this way. Let's say that a normal size Storm figure is $80 retail, and a big Storm figure is $100 retail. The part counts the same, but you can charge $20 more for the same thing. What are you going to do?
Right.
But it's business.
Maybe.
But like from inside information is this guy just likes big dudes.
Well, I think it was more so that he doesn't like.
He doesn't
like to make female characters.
Not that they're bad at it, right? Because we've had some female figures, right?
Yeah, the Chun-Li and the Cammy, right?
Yeah, but they just don't. That's not what interests them to design.
It's like good grief.
I mean, those
votes, I guess, right?
Chun-Li she was a big girl.
Yeah, but rightfully so. Rightfully so.
I mean, she was yeah.
I mean, Chun-Li's a thick girl in game.
But it's like here's my DC shelf. They're like, wow, Doomsday, Lobo, Darkseid. Like this is a weird lineup.
Alien dudes.
Here's my Mortal Kombat shelf: 1,000 ninjas, Shao Kahn, and Goro.
Okay, right.
Hey, just be glad you got those ninjas, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Shao Kahn and Goro, fucking giant dudes.
Giant dudes. And then we got a Motaro coming, right? Like the Horseman.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I just.
I mean, hey man, an artist is an artist, man. You can't tell him what to do.
No, and I'm not, and I'm certainly not. But I am asking. I am asking.
What they're doing is good, but they're good at what they do.
Yes, but they are good at women too.
Yes, but they don't want to.
Right, and I'm asking. I'm pleading is what I'm doing, not telling. Pleading. All right, continue, Joe. I'm sorry.
Talking about you doing work in your basement. buddy came out to do my yard. It looks fucking great. Fucking did some weeding. Fucking like edged out the goddamn flower beds and just mowed it. It's fucking great. He's gonna come out again like next week. Like, oh, it was money well spent. And I don't know how much like the artwork costs. Like I've never paid for it in my life, but like whatever he charged me, I feel like is very, very good price. So I'm like, I don't even want to know what the real price of things are, just in case he's like overcharging me. But it seems very reasonable, especially with like the difference. Dude, I never fucking. I have those. What are those things called with a fucking wire that spins and then you?
Well, it's a string trimmer, commonly known as a weed eater.
Yeah, like people take those to the edge of the yard and like around the mulch. Nah, I never used it. I just fucking hand push my shit right into the fucking tree.
But that part,
right over the curb.
That's the part I actually enjoy. That's kind of the fun part. It's like I don't know why. I find it very rewarding that line trimmer or whatever, weed whacker.
Yeah, it's like lining up people's hair, right?
I guess so.
So like my yard would be like cut. Like when it's up to me, my yard, the grass would be cut, sticks of weed would be coming out, and all the edges grass would be really long, hanging over the curb. That's what my yard. Very trashy, but fuck. Yeah. But now I'm a yard guy, and got my house more parts of my house painted.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so like the foyer. It's fucking weird. Like we didn't want to do it because like our house is set up so that like when you walk in, there's a big foyer like that spans 2 floors, and that wall does not stop. It continues throughout both floors of the house. So if you start it, you have to just fucking paint the whole thing.
Right.
And like the ceiling is, I don't know, fucking 15 feet up or some shit like that.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So we got a old Vietnamese guy to come out and paint it. It looks great. So there's no more fucking peach, off-white, beige bullshit color in my house. Everything is gray or blue, cold, like me. That's also for a very good price. And though there's only one room in the house that needs to be done that isn't done, is our bedroom.
Nice.
So, and Roger Case got in touch with me and say shipping is resumed now. So.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, because like it keeps being touch and go with like things opening and not opening, and also manufacturing opening or shutting. But like manufacturing is been underway and shipping is resumed. So
nice. Mine's supposed to come in August, September, but I might double check. I gotta.
Yeah. Just hit him up. Like he's responsive, He fucking gets.
Well, it's his wife that handles that. Like I've learned that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So like he handles the order details and build, and she handles like the logistics of dealing with like the customer service end. Like
I just hit him up on personal Facebook.
Right. So I hit him up on personal Facebook. So I hit Magic Case through the Instagram.
Oh yeah, that's different.
And then he'll talk to me.
I'm talking to him because like I get voice clips from him sometimes when he can't fucking text.
Right. Well, I'll be talking to him too because I'll be like, are we still on track for May? And he'll be like, hold on, I'll get you so and so, and she'll update you on all that. And then the wife will come on and be like, nope.
She's the one who fires people probably, right? In that relationship. Yeah. But no, like hopefully my house will be done by the end of the goddamn year. I've been here for like living here. Like I bought the house before I started living here, but I've been living here for like over a year now. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, man. Like I'm excited to get mine because it's the last big component of the basement, and then the large components of the basement are completely done.
Hey, Chris.
Oh,
how long have you known Bobby?
6 years?
Yeah, something like that, right? Mm-hmm. How many times has he said this is the last part of the basement?
So, I mean, I don't even to the point now where I'm just like oh whatever.
He's the same last piece of the basement since I've met him. The first time I went into this basement, he's like, "Yeah, I'm working on this. This will be the last piece."
So this is not the last piece of the basement, but it is the last big thing in the basement. The last last big piece of furniture or big shelving thing or whatever. Like,
y'all out there, start a betting pool.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, no, I got to check with him too because he was like he only works with like the white lights. You know what I'm saying? Like for the spotlight or the strips, and like and I want the other kind, like the house lights, just to match everything now at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said he was going to work on that for me, so we'll see.
Because otherwise it would be stuck.
Right.
Lastly, I was thinking about, for whatever reason, I was listening to something, and I felt myself start to get I get worked up easy, Bobby. Mm-hmm. I'm a passionate dude. And then I have to sit back and calm myself down again. Nah, it's not worth it to get worked up over listening to some shit on YouTube. It's about fandom, right? I was listening to this guy talking about how he's a fan of stuff, and I was getting worked up. I'm like, man, by the sound of you, you don't sound like a fucking real fan. And then I had to sit back and think about all the times we talk about, like, if you say you're a fan and you like something, then you're a fan. Like, you shouldn't be judged.
Yep.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, man, like that. Then your fandom is fucking skin deep, because like, and I guess that's okay, because for me it's like, it's not like I'm better than you think, because sometimes some nerds are like, oh, I know more than you, therefore
right.
They try to explain you, they're nerdum.
Right.
Like for me, it's like almost like a disrespect thing. Like if I'm really into something and I'm like deep into it, and like you say you're a fan of something, and like you cannot.
No, I get it.
Like, I get it. The property enough to say that you're a fan of it. You just like the way that shit looks.
Well, there was one of those guys that like I don't think you can take it all at face value, and I do think that like anybody can do whatever the fuck they want, right? But but if you're not at a certain level of fandom. Like every level of fandom, I think opens you up to a certain amount of tools that I respect, right? So if you're like an entry level person and you want to share some pictures and some thoughts of your entry level shit, that's, I think, an appropriate level. Now you can do whatever you want. You're welcome to do whatever you want, but I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in you giving a deep breakdown of the history of something when you just bought your first thing. Now, as you get on and on, then it opens you up to more tools that I'm interested in from you. But, like, you got to be careful about the shit, because there was that one guy, and you have to forgive me, I can't remember his name at this point, but he was one of those, like, big, like, fire Kathy Kennedy, down with Disney, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And then, like, it came out that he wasn't even a Star Wars fan. And, like, never had been. And, like, wasn't really into it. It was just a moneymaker because it was, like, trending on YouTube at the time.
Right. So, yeah.
So like
it's just a business, man.
Yeah, so I don't think there's anything wrong with like evaluating the information that's brought to you, and then you making a personal decision as to like, nah, this guy doesn't get it the way that I get it, and therefore I'm not interested in his opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think like when people are like because like we have to be careful about, so we don't want to judge, right? We don't want to be.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I try not to.
But at some points you have to. But some things you got to judge. If somebody comes in, they're like, dude, I live and die for Star Wars. I live and die for it. Like, look at my collection of Jawas, and it's a whole shelf of Stormtroopers. Like, I have to judge. I have to. Right? Like, at what point is it healthy to judge? At what point is it reasonable to judge?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you, even if you don't, I don't know. You have to judge for yourself whether it's worth it for you to continue conversation with this person, I guess. That's what it is. And instead of judging them as fans or as people.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, it doesn't make you a bad person just because you don't know what a fucking Jawa is.
Right. It's like, you do you, but, like, I can't talk to you.
Yeah. I hate when people take advantage of the culture, I guess. Yeah. I mean, that's what I hate. When people, like, get into this shit because they see the money side of it. Like, I'm going to, like, I don't give a fuck about any of this shit. I don't care, but I can make a YouTube video and trash whatever, and it's going to catapult me to a certain level. That's what I hate.
So there was an interesting conversation on Breaking the Mold a couple weeks ago about basically there's some people on YouTube that they have a toy channel, but they it would be, Bobby, if you decided tomorrow, like, I'm going to buy all the Mythic Legions, I'm going to chase down every single one there is, I'm going to buy everything they have, and I'm going to talk about it on a podcast, but I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Right.
but the people that follow me, because these people have a decent following, are all about it. Well, 2 weeks later, I'm selling all these Mythic Legions. I'm going to give you guys the first crack at them, you know, and to an extent. Oh man, I was able to buy a Bobby Skullface, you know, something he had.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they buy. Oh, let's get all the Super 7 and He-Man stuff. Same cycle, and it's just this cycle of ignorance, basically. That they're spewing bad information and misinformation. It just like you said, you know, I think Dave mentioned this guy keeps calling him Dark Vader.
Dark Vader. Yo,
I love it. Yeah. I love it. And like it's
Dark Vader,
because there's a business around it now, right? Like, you know, and I'm all about entrepreneurship within the culture, you know, and fans being creators. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
All about it. But when you come in and are there for the buck, you know, and you're not contributing, you're not making the fandom better with the services you're providing, you're fucking actually literally and legitimately making it worse for something that you don't care about. It's like how we treat West Virginia.
Information is not good.
It's like how we treat West Virginia. You know what I mean? Like we come in, we mine because there's money to be made, and then when the money's made, we roll the fuck out and let them handle the fucking fallout from it.
And then you talk trash about how they have no money.
Yeah.
After you pull everything out.
Yeah. That's what bugs me.
Yep.
Does it grind your gears?
It grinds my gears.
It grinds my gears.
Really, what's another one? Really gets my, it's something one of those, gets my such and such, it gets my, demeans,
gets in my craw.
Yeah, stuck in my craw is one, but it really gets my gander, gets my
dander up.
I don't know what it is.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
Joe.
Yes, sir.
Joe, I got one for you.
Yes, sir.
What do you call an herbal laxative that only works after sex?
What is it?
What do you call an
Yeah,
herbal?
what do you call it? What do you call that?
What do you call an herbal laxative that only works after sex? You call it hump tea, dump tea.
Oh my God.
That's a half Pinkerton original. I heard the original joke layout. I'm like, that I can do better or worse. But here it is.
Nice.
I can improve this.
I can improve this and make it more cringy.
Yeah. Good.
No. Good.
Yeah.
I'm good talk.
I'm just glad I remembered that all week to tell you.
And I've been looking more into 3D printing stuff, but that's about it.
Nice.
I read the I forgot the person's name, but someone wrote a nice long detailed message about 3D printing discussion. And I did read all of it, and
that thing I sent, the screenshot. Yeah.
And I want to say, I'm not here to say it's like right or wrong. Like, I think it's too complex to really just draw a line in the sand right now, and especially depending the item per item. But yeah, I'm not saying people should be able to, or just because they should or can make everything they want doesn't mean they should. But like, I'm also not in a place where I can say that that's wrong either.
Yeah, I think everything with that stuff, and he made some great points.
Yeah,
and thanks for writing it up. But I think that everything with that is a case by case basis.
Yeah,
like if people are straight, you know, doing the same thing, then that's a little bit more. I take a little bit more issue with that than people contributing. You know, we keep going back to we keep going back to kind of the same things, but like the people, like if somebody makes a 1-for-1 copy of Jyn Erso for Black Series, but like I have more of an issue with that than if they made like an Ugnaught, or if they made a gun for Roadblock, or a canister or something for a diorama. Like I think there's a difference between contributing and stealing.
Well, and it's just unprecedented right now, because this is not. I mean, like, imagine if someone sculpted their own figure, right, based on something else, right? But it's not. It's not. Oh, you didn't recast that stuff. You looked at it and you just so fucking skillful. You sculpted your own, right?
Right.
And then you fucking start making copies of your own shit, and you just start shipping it out for free.
Right. If there's no money being made.
Right. Like, it's complex right now because
Yeah, I agree.
a lot of things right now with technology is we just have not fucking been here before.
Right.
So, well, I mean, we'll see how that shit shakes out.
Yeah, and hopefully continue talking about it because I think it has led to some pretty good discussion.
Yeah, I mean, that's me wanting to fucking 3D print stuff.
Yeah.
Are you? How often are you using the printer, Chris? Still mass producing stuff?
Yeah, so this, this door project, each door has 4 of those line head door rockers on it, and I've actually put Frosted Flakes onto that. That's his job is to print those, and got a little decent process set up out in the garage now with I made a jerry rigged UV box. I took the timing. Well, Kelly did really took the timing out of that light. That nail light we have,
Yeah.
so it just runs. When you plug it in, it's on. Yeah,
you don't have to keep pressing the fucking button every 5 minutes.
Right. And I found a resin that the water wash stuff's so expensive, but I found some just regular wash stuff. It's the Elegoo Gray. It doesn't smell hardly at all. I mean, I've probably gotten it in my eyes at this point. No, I'm kidding. I didn't.
Haven't
do that.
died yet.
But like Kelly had these little. I think it's called like a vegetable. It's like a little Tupperware thing, but inside of it, it's got a basket that fits perfectly.
Oh yeah, it's like a salad tosser.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this thing's tiny. It's probably
you spin the top right, and it fucking rotates the basket on the inside.
It's not that complicated. I know what you're talking about. This literally is just like, I mean, maybe a 5 by 5 by 5 thing, inches, and it's got a basket. So basically, you can kind of wash the items off by moving them up and down, and then you can pull them out in the basket. And then put them in the UV, and we've got a little rhythm going there, but
Nice.
That's really all I've been using it for of late.
It's a nice. It was just a fun little fucking investment thing. We're like, let's try this shit out. It turned real well.
That's it.
And it wasn't even touched for months. We got that shit for Christmas last year.
I know. It was like, it was that red resin, man, because it smelled so bad. I was like, I don't want to fuck with this. But that it's a Elegoo Gray. No smell that I can detect. It's still in the garage, but
just to be safe, like you don't want to fucking.
I don't have.
Just so you can't smell it doesn't mean it's fucking not bad for you.
Right. I mean, I don't have room to put it in the basement, anyways. Right now, we have so much other shit going on down here. So.
And that's about it for me.
Nice. Crisco 112th collection. How was your week?
I don't know. I don't remember my week. I know I watched some stuff. I finished watching Archer. Up to where they're at now. And I guess they're putting out another season this year at some point.
So overall thoughts?
I enjoyed it a lot. I mean,
Nice.
like it's funny. I didn't watch it for a couple of days, and I was like, I missed it.
Nice.
It's just fun, dumb fucking shit.
It is.
Love it.
The last either 2 or 3 seasons, he ends up in a coma, and it's like they have an adventure in it's L.A. in the 50s, kind of a Hollywood noir thing, and then they have another season where they're like, it's kind of got an Indiana Jones African Queen riverboat vibe to it, and then he's dreaming all this shit. And then the last one, they're in space. It's like 100 years in the future, but it all kind of ties together, and it's all the same voice actors playing different roles, but it's the same,
Right.
In the very last, hopefully not spoil anything for anybody, but the very last thing, he wakes up and his mom's been there the whole time, and basically it's you've been in a coma for 3 years, and that was the end of it. I started watching another show, and I struggled to find something to watch because
There's so much to watch.
I'll start something and I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch this. I'll watch 5 minutes. Cards on the Table. I've never really watched the Monty Python shit. I tried to start one of them and it's like, I don't want to do this. I just don't.
I watched the Knights one, the Holy Grail.
Well, that's what it was. And I think I've tried to watch it 3 or 4 times, but maybe I just don't get the humor. I know it's British humor.
It's not my humor either, to be fair.
But speaking of humor that doesn't necessarily, not everybody likes, are you guys fans of Zach Galifianakis?
I could take or leave him.
Yeah,
the fat guy from The Hangover is probably almost people know.
I didn't like it. I watched his stand-up ones. I didn't like it that much. It wasn't that funny to me.
I liked him in
So
that
he-
movie with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, the road trip one, whatever it was.
Yeah, I did like him in that.
He has an innate ability as a comedian, and I will upfront say I think it's lost to a lot of his audience or people who watch him. He has an innate ability to be so ignorant to a situation that it's funny. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I didn't even realize this show's been on there's 4 seasons of it on Hulu. It's called Baskets. It's about he is a guy who it opens he's in France. He's at a French clown school. Doesn't speak French. Everybody hates him. Basically, there's a woman, he gets involved with this woman who, she says up front, I will marry you to get to America. I don't love you. But he can't, he does not, doesn't really. He comes back. His mom is played by male comedian Louis Armstrong.
Okay, the fat guy?
The fat guy.
Yeah.
Who is the fat guy with a wig and a muumuu on.
Yeah.
But it plays perfectly. He's got a twin brother, which he plays that role as well. And then they've got his mom and dad had adopted twin boys, 2 black guys that are twin brothers, and they're super successful. They're like DJs or some shit.
Okay.
Well, he's a struggling clown, and the other brother is he runs a I don't know, I guess career training center. You know, like the old Sally Struthers commercials. Where you can learn typing and filing and all this shit.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm into the second season, but through the first season, like he ends up getting a job at a rodeo as a rodeo clown, and after like 3 days there, he's the head rodeo clown, and he has to hire somebody, so he hires a juggalo.
Like,
but he has no idea.
Clown Posse Juggalo?
Yes, a 35-year-old man wearing face paint and has his hair in those, I don't even know what you call it. They're like, I'll call it the early Snoop Dogg haircut, where it's just like the braids, but they stick out everywhere. It's just, I mean, it's so cringeworthy. I can imagine some people just couldn't watch it because it's just so
Like that's
cringy.
some shit that like fucking Bobby would like. He loves that cringe shit.
Yeah, I do love cringy stuff.
Well, then you'd like this because he's in some situations, and like there's this woman who obviously is attracted to him that he is just blatantly against, but she drives him everywhere, and it's got a lot of layers to it. It really does.
Right.
I think it's very well written. But anyways, it's what I'm currently the path I'm on. I watched Indiana Jones Episode 4, Attack of the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh yeah,
I hadn't
watched that.
I hadn't watched it since. I remember I didn't go to the theater to see it, and I watched it when it came out on video. And this was 2008 maybe. Yeah, it's 2008. Because I think Kelly and I were talking about it. It's a 12-year-old movie. It wasn't as bad as I remember. There's a couple scenes, and the things I remembered that was awful, like he's in the quicksand and they throw a snake at him to pull him out. I'm like, really? It's too much of a gag. But it wasn't as bad as I remembered. And I remember there was a big stink about, we got to bring aliens in. It's just so far-fetched. I'm like, well, things from the Bible burning people's faces off, it's probably pretty far-fetched too.
Yeah.
So it's not really that outside the realm of what's going on, in the other ones. I thought it was fine. I
didn't think it was great, but I didn't think it was, as bad as what a lot of people. I think it's like old fans that want specific things.
Yeah, I liked it when I saw it. I only saw it in the theater. I haven't seen it since, and I too would like to rewatch it. But I've always thought, man, that movie is hated far more than it should be. I don't think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread or anything. But.
No, it's not. It lends a lot to. It lends a lot to wanting to know more because they talk in there about how him and I don't remember the guy's name, the British guy that is like a double agent or whatever in there, about them having all these adventures during World War II, and we never saw that. And I don't guess we will at this point, but
right.
I was like, man, that would have been some cool shit to see. And how did he get from being Dr. Jones to a fucking spy? There's a story there too, right? So
Right.
I don't know. Maybe Kathleen Kennedy will flesh all that out at some point in time for us. I'm trying to think if I watched anything else. No, I can't really say. We watch Wheel of Fortune almost every night, and last night was the dumbest people I've ever seen on Wheel of Fortune. just like morons. Some of the answers they gave.
Yeah. It's not. Wheel of Fortune is like the less intelligent version of Jeopardy for me. Because growing up, it comes. I remember like at 6:30 is Wheel of Fortune, and then 7 o'clock is Jeopardy, and I had to turn it off because I never understood what the fuck they were talking about in Jeopardy, but I could guess letters.
Right.
That's fair. I can't think of anything else. Oh, I have a funny story to tell you. So, Kelly made breakfast for dinner the other night. And she makes this bacon. I might have talked about it before. She bakes it and puts like brown sugar and all this shit on it. It's like basically like candy by the time it gets to the table.
Right.
Or she made a lot of it, and the kids didn't really eat much of it. So I'm just sitting there. We're sitting there after dinner at the table, just kind of bullshitting and watching TV, and there's this pile of bacon in front of me. Well, who am I to leave bacon?
Sure.
I ate. I don't know how many pieces of bacon, but a lot of bacon. I woke up yesterday morning, and it felt like my mouth looked like one of those like really old men with false teeth that are out, and its whole mouth sucking in.
Ugh.
And I never wake up like, oh my God, what's wrong? So I drank like 2 big glasses of water, and I got to thinking, I'm like, there's all that fucking bacon, and then the hydration of that sodium caused other things to occur to my body. It was a shitty day, boys. Let's just say that.
I mean, you lost fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that runs through you.
Yeah, like it ran through me like Hulkamania ran through the 80s, brother.
Yeah, we're too old to be eating like that.
I know we are. So maybe one day I'll get my shit together. But I think that's it for me. I can't think of anything else.
All right. We do have a little bit of news to kind of cover. Nothing crazy. But one thing that I wanted to talk about was this Sentinel.
Oh, yeah.
The HasLab Sentinel. I think it's beautiful.
It's very well done.
It funded quick as fuck.
It funded in like 4 hours.
Who doesn't want a Sentinel, though, right?
So I think, all right. So I think of the 3 things they've offered, the sail barge, the Unicron, and the Cookie Monster, I guess, that this is probably the most, it's the easiest on the pockets.
Yes, that helps a lot.
It's kind of the most essential for a collection of the 3. And it scales perfectly. It's the first offering from them to scale perfectly.
Does the barge not scale perfectly?
No, hell no.
It's too small, right?
Yeah. But it's well close enough. I wouldn't even fucking want like the 20-foot one or whatever it would have to be.
Wait, hang on. Even at 18 scale, it's still way too small?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't guess I realized that.
So it's like it's marketing wise what it's trying to do. Now we can't talk about the build and all those sorts of things, but it's perfect. It's the first perfect thing they've offered. It's sculpted accurately. It's scale wise, it's perfect. It's the deco's perfect. The upgrades that have become unlocked are all smart. The broken face one, the mastermind one. It kind of
female Sentinel character.
Yep. It goes hand in hand with the Nimrod that's coming out.
Nimrod.
Yeah.
They're probably. I was looking this morning, and they'll be at 10,000 today.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Like Brink shared with me a graph.
Yeah. We did the graph last night on End of the Realm. Yeah.
The like just looking at the arcs,
the numbers.
It's so vastly different from the other 2 offerings.
Yeah. So this is I'm looking at it right now. It's at 9,964 backers.
Are they going to cap it, or are they just going to?
No. It's got 41 days left.
Well, here's the thing with production though. Like there is a fucking hardware limit. You can't fucking use a mold forever.
At a certain point,
It would degrade.
make another mold. I mean, I would imagine.
It has to be worthwhile for them to make another mold.
But I mean, how many Bucky caps have they used? You know what I mean?
So $3.4 million so far, and apparently this has like 260 part count. It's a huge part count on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, his fingers are individually articulated and all that. So I'm gonna definitely go in on one. There's a part of me that wants to go in on 3. Not going to do it, but there's
yeah, I'm there with you, Bobby. I'm going in at least on 1, just because it's, I don't know, the size of it's just ridiculous. I might get 2 or 3. It depends.
I'm at a point where I'm buying for my collection almost as much as I'm buying for my space. So I think a couple years ago I would have got at least 2. One for master mold.
3 is the magic number for Sentinels.
Yes.
I feel like they show up in 3 also.
But now I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, no, I want the Sentinel in the middle of Thanos on one side from Hot Toys and Hulk on the other side from Hot Toys, and that will fill this particular space, and that'll be done. But then the only other problem is I'm sure a Galactus will come one day.
No, they keep saying that,
Yeah.
He will come.
So, yeah, I mean, congratulations to fucking Hasbro. It's their third. Like they're playing. I'm waiting for them to do something for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers just so I can sit out.
I don't think they're gonna.
Why?
What?
The line's super successful for them. They're doing the helmets now, which is something Bandai never did.
Yeah.
Of course, they're doing.
Wondering what they would make. That I mean, like what would they make?
What about one of those big monster things? One of the big suits. Like one of them big monsters, them big mechanical monsters, Joe. That the ones. Just got one of them Triceratops. One of them's a woolly mammoth.
Those are the robots, and they're the good guys, and they make them already.
Yeah, the Zords.
My thing of saying
wait.
What they make is that they already make everything. There's nothing that they don't make.
They already make them in 1/12 scale.
I don't know what the fuck scale they are.
See, that's the thing. Is like I don't know. Let me be 100% forthcoming. I have no fucking clue because I could give a fuck less. But I've seen like the Bandai ones and stuff, but they're like small. Like they won't fit like the Hasbro figures. You know what I mean? By any stretch.
I mean, you can't make them to scale.
Well, you can't make the barge. You can't make Unicron to scale either.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, but like you have Power Rangers. I guess are they 1/12? I guess they're 1/12 figures. They're around 1/12 size, but like you can't make 5 of them fit into the head of the fucking robot and then make the robot like scale. That would be like the size of you.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, obviously it won't scale properly, right? Same way Unicron won't and the barge won't. But I don't put anything past this HasLabs shit at this point. Yeah. I just don't. They seem extremely ambitious.
Because I feel they're making things that normally wouldn't be made.
Correct.
That's the only caveat is like there isn't. I don't think there is a Power Rangers that's not represented in merchandise.
No, but I mean, but nobody's made this before.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like, I mean, I don't think they're going to do it. I'll be honest. Not because of the scale issue. I think they can overcome that. I think they're not going to do it because I think G.I. Joe is going to be their focus. It seems like.
Oh, yeah, the fucking ship, right? Probably.
I think there's going to have to. They're going to have to get some more product out in the market for G.I. Joe before I think they'll do anything from a HasLab standpoint. I mean, there's 5 figures out now. There's another maybe 10 on the horizon. Yeah. So.
But it seems super popular. So I don't know. I mean, I feel what you're saying though. I think that it would probably be a more liberal choice as opposed to a conservative one because of the limited run so far. But it does seem like a really like the excitement seems palpable regarding it.
It seems like they're doing a good job building it right now.
Right.
Like at the beginning of the stage of building something greater.
What do you think they would do?
For G.I. Joe?
Yeah.
We talked about this last night. I think they do one of the big jets, the Sky Striker, or the Night Raven. because I mean they're not going to be able to do like the play sets, the flag, or the headquarters or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I say they can't. Who knows?
I mean, it won't scale.
Right. But
I mean,
I think
a USS flag at 12 scale would not fit the length of my basement.
No.
I mean, obviously the one in 18 scale was nowhere near scale, anyways. But
Yeah.
you could park like 4 jets on it. I think.
yeah, I don't think that we'll see the flag either, but I think that like I think it's feasible to say one of the jets. I'm trying to think because the issue that I run in with thinking about G.I. Joe is that like a lot of the vehicles I can see them doing, like just
Right now,
standard his
so
tank for sure.
The his tank, they could do the Ostriker, the Vamp, the Cobra version of the Vamp.
All right, hold on.
Okay, the Ostriker is the dune buggy kind of Jeep that has the
Okay.
suspension.
Yep.
The Vamp was the first Jeep that came with clutch.
Okay.
And then they did a Cobra version of that in black.
What about the one that split that had like 3 wheels or whatever? Like the Cobra one split at the front. Do you remember that thing? It was like 2 sections of it. Kind of they like split like a pair of legs. Like it was like spreading your legs, so to speak. Like if you were laying on your back, the thing would like spread its legs.
Well,
Do you know what I'm talking about?
not right off.
Like a snowmobile looking thing?
It was black because it was a Cobra vehicle. Let me see here. It was cool as fuck. I mean, it sounds stupid when I say it, and like in my head when I'm trying to imagine it, it kind of looks stupid. But like, but I remember thinking.
Oh, I see that. So the back swung open and it had like different gun turrets on it. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, it was the front that split open.
Or maybe that is the front. Maybe it's just the odd.
It was this. Stun.
It looks like it's the Cobra Stun.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, I mean they could do that. They could do like the Thrashers. I think that's the right Dreadnought. He had that vehicle. I mean they're all going to be. Well, how much like is that snow speeder?
Right, about $100.
$50. How much is that snow speeder?
I think it's around $100.
Is it really?
I think so.
I didn't think it was that much. So, well, how much was like Luke and the Pajama Jammy Jam Luke with the
That was
X-34?
I think that was around 50.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of little vehicles they can do.
Right.
That was the cool thing about G.I. Joe is, the figures are like $3 or $4, and then you could get like for $10, you could get like the Trouble Bubble and like the
right.
They had the motorcycle that had the sidecar with the fucking rail gun on it, which is shit crazy if you think about it.
And that helicopter that offered absolutely no protection.
Right, the little Cobra chopper.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff, and I think they'll dip their toes into that to see how it does.
Mm-hmm.
Before they'll go HasLab with anything.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to be the next, what's your guess on the next franchise?
I don't know. I mean, you'd think that they might do something 12 scale Star Wars.
Ooh, that's a good one. What do you think?
Like, I don't know.
I feel like we run into a similar problem there where it's like
an X-Wing maybe.
Yeah, but I almost feel like I could get away with an X-Wing at retail.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably right.
Like, I mean, I bump into the same problem I bump into with G.I. Joe, where it's like some stuff doesn't seem quite big enough for HasLab, and some stuff seems too ridiculously big for HasLab. Do you know what I mean? Where I'm
right, like the Defiant space station. I don't imagine they're going to try to do that.
Right. Or the Millennium Falcon. I'm like, probably too much.
I mean, that's the way to go, though. I feel like that would definitely sell that.
Yeah, the Falcon would sell. I just don't know if they could make it cool enough. Have to sacrifice the scale and be able to subsequently make it cool enough to get
right.
The interest it would be tricky. I think it'd be real tricky.
Yeah.
Then smart ways to just stay with like the comic book properties because there's so much shit to choose from.
Yeah, I mean, I think Galactus. I know a lot of people want that Blackbird from X-Men.
Yeah,
but I'd rather have the Galactus for sure. Fing Fang Foom. Would you pick that up?
Fang Foom. Dragon?
No, I'm good on that.
Are you sure?
I don't need a Fing Fang Foom.
Something else.
Yeah, I think I'm good on Fing Fang Foom. Oh, I got more bad news. So, I was going to get that quarter scale. Was it Prime 1 or I can't keep track of it. The Daenerys from Game of Thrones with like the 3 dragons all around her. And I was like, man, like the last season of Game of Thrones, people were kind of lukewarm to cold on. Like, there'll be plenty of these around. So I went and checked it the other day. I'm officially now on the wait list for it.
Nice.
Yeah, because there'll always be the fucking fan, like the diehard fans. I mean, those are the people who's going to buy fucking core scales anyway. And like a shitty last season ain't going to fucking change that for them.
Yeah, so I was pretty bummed out about that also. Hopefully it'll work out. But I've never had a wait list not work out, to be fair. But yeah.
Someone always backs out. It depends on how far down you're on that wait list, right?
Yeah. But there's a first time for everything. And 2020 has definitely been the first time for a few things.
That's right.
Okay, so all apologies. I kept this in there for Joe, because Joe, I know you're a Dungeons and Dragons player.
Yes.
Did you read this article about the cultural sensitivity warnings on the legacy titles of Dungeons and Dragons?
I'm not on Facebook anymore, so I probably didn't catch anything that was put there.
Okay, so it says here, in a series of posts, Wizards of the Coast announced that a disclaimer has been added to several legacy titles on our partner distribution sites and explained the reasons behind the decision. There has been scrutiny over how certain Dungeons and Dragons races, such as the Orc, the Drow, and the Vistati.
Drow are dark elves.
And the Vistati, do you know them?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Vestati, have been portrayed in ways mirroring real-world racial stereotypes.
Yeah, I mean, even in lore, they treat it sub.
Well, let me finish this, and then I would like for you to educate me on it, just because I have no fucking clue what they're talking about. Do you know what I mean? Okay. It says, the post ended with a plea for civility among Dungeons & Dragons fans, urging, lastly, we want to make it clear that we condemn the harassment or bullying of those raising their concerns about our content, past or present. D&D wants to be an open, welcoming, and inclusive space. Simply put, we messed up and we're sorry. Thank you for continuing to use your voice so that we may continue to make meaningful change. So, explain the Drow and the Orc and what racial stereotypes they are lining up with.
Well, I mean, as we know, like, things made in this 80s or prior, a lot of times just aren't okay now. Correct. You know, even movies, we talk about a lot about, like, would they make this movie today? You know what I mean? And sometimes when you watch these older movies and, like, you obviously know, you get uncomfortable because the way people are portrayed is not okay.
Correct.
Yeah, so, like, Drows are, like, dark elves, and they are mostly bad guys that lives in the underworld, like a whole world underneath, and I don't know if that's the right thing for them to do, like to say this, because a lot of the role playing aspect of D&D, right, mirrors real life stuff, and you get into it being able to discuss or talk or like role play out maybe like real world type situations, but not talk about real races, right? Because there's racism in D&D where one race doesn't get along with another race.
Sure.
I mean, just like in Mass Effect.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So like I don't know if I don't know if they needed to say that.
Yeah, I guess my question is, like, as a fan of it, have you ever, like, been playing a little ditty and said to yourself, man, these Vistati, they're an awful lot like the Norwegians. Do you know what I mean? Or because like I know that like Games Workshop has even said like that the Space Marines are kind of inspired by the Roman legions, and you know what I mean. So they're
one of them, well, they were originally, and then like each like race had their own fucking thing.
Right.
The Asian ones and the black ones, and then
right. But I mean, in their initial kind of conception, just like when the two guys or whatever they were sitting around saying, let's make a game. Space Marines are going to be like the Roman Legion, and Orcs or whatever.
Well, Orcs in D&D, as far as I've ever had experience, feel like stereotypical negative depiction of black people.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it because of a tribal element, or is it like? See, I just find it so strange. Like,
I mean, you never read into the lore.
That's true, 100%. I'm ignorant. I'm super ignorant of all this shit. Let me be 1,000% on upfront about all of that. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's for you. It's just the visual. Like, you know what, like when you watch Lord of the Rings, you know what an elf is. You know what an orc is.
Correct.
You know,
But I do have orc goblin confusion in Lord of the Rings sometimes. But yes,
goblins are smaller.
correct. But sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, is that an orc or is that a goblin? I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, as far as like, I don't know, unless you're like in a fucking racist group of players, you don't fucking dwell on that shit.
Right. What about the drow?
I don't know what there are specifically, like specifically real life analogs of them.
Right. I guess that's the thing is I just don't. Is it one of those things where we're searching, like you say, like when you guys are sitting around playing, nobody's sitting there saying like, man, this feels fucked up because this feels like a bad stereotypical view or, you know, an ignorant view of a group of people. Or is it something where people are looking too deep into it? Like, you know, like
I don't think they're looking too deep into it. I think when we like, with lore and stuff, when you read it, you just give it a passing acknowledgement in your head. It's like, oh yeah, that's very similar to,
gotcha.
you know, to what it is in real life.
But we can't think of
and then you
anything.
move on.
But we can't think of anything for the drow,
I can't off the top of my head. No,
and we don't even know what the fuck of a statty is.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm gonna look up a
I play D&D, but I'm not like that deep into the lore. I play a long time, and like I know the basics and the basic lore, but that D&D goes deep.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been around for fucking ever, right? And it's like, and it's kind of unfair. I feel like that it's like the common thing that's used, you know, to like you're like, oh man, like I like Star Wars, like, oh, Dungeons and Dragons over here.
I mean, because Dungeons and Dragons was popular in the 80s, and it was actually not a nerd thing for a bit. It was like an actual thing to do for like a normal person, a normal kid, I guess.
I mean, I played Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s.
Yeah, it wasn't weird.
I don't think I played it since, but
It became weird.
So here's a funny thing. So I just put in Vistati in a Google search. The first image is from the site that we're using to reference this conversation. The second image is from a different site used to reference this conversation. The third image is from a fourth site used to reference this conversation and is a picture of the Avengers. The fifth image is a woman in a bed of flowers, but also used to reference this conversation. The sixth one is a giant snake, also used to reference this conversation. But there's no, like, all of the things regarding the Vistati are specifically in regard to this new information.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know all the creatures off the top of my head. There's a shit ton of them, but the Vistati sounds familiar, but I can't think of what they look like.
Gotcha.
I mean, it is a thing where, like, if you're in D&D, like, if you're the dark-skinned version of something, you probably live underground and is a bad guy.
Which is
Like
kind of
like regular elves, and then you have the dark elves, and then you have the regular dwarves, and then you have the Demiurge, which is like dark dwarf, and then they fucking live underground and they're bad guys too.
which kind of seems backwards, right? Because like they would be paler, you would think, from not getting enough sun and
Right, but you know, but it's
well, Chris doesn't play anymore. I never watched the cartoon. I didn't even watch the Jamie Foxx movie or whatever it was. Was it? No, it was a Marlon Wayans. It was somebody.
that even happened.
It was
Holy
somebody
mackerel.
from In Living Color that was in that fucking movie.
It was Kim Wayne. It was Kim Wayne.
Martin Wayne.
It was Kim Wayans and Swerve. Wasn't that? I don't know.
So I never watched the movie. I don't know shit about Dungeons and Dragons. I did have the little multi-headed red dragon toy. Do you think Joe is the only person really involved in this shit that it's the right call?
I don't think it was necessary,
Okay.
but I don't think bad call.
Okay.
Just put it out there. Just like I can imagine, you know, a lot of like Clint Eastwood movies where you're just fucking slapping women around and dragging them into the barn to fuck them. Like you probably want to put a disclaimer before that. That's you know.
I mean, I guess if it's, I don't know. I mean, like if as long as it's aptly rated, I feel like that. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because like they those movies and those scenes are made back then because it was normalized. It wasn't like.
But I guess I don't want to show up to.
Not like now.
I don't want to go like show up to see a horror movie about a slasher film with a bunch of teenagers getting killed in the woods by a masked man and at the beginning be like, look, as a heads up, there's going to be some violence against women in this thing. It's like, yeah, probably, and men too. And
No. I mean, just for retroactive things.
Right.
This is what D&D is doing. Like, they're only the legacy books. Only like.
Right. Where it seems out of
like 3.5 and up.
Where it seems out of touch with the current standard, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I will take your word for it. I trust your opinion in regard to it because I don't know shit.
I mean, I'm just, it's just gut feelings with me either. I'm not a fucking foremost authority on social justice or nothing.
So then the last note that we have is the Batman Begins is beginning, which is the Robert Pattinson is going to be a prequel film. We're not sure if it's going to be a prequel in universe or if it's just going to be a prequel to the idea of Batman, but I don't even think he's called Batman yet in this movie. From the limited reading I did. Which I got to tell you,
he was always Batman from day one, though. I thought. Right,
me too. But let me not guess. Let me read. So, according to Variety reporter Justin Kroll, the series will explore the origins of the Batman's Gotham, offering insight into how it became such a corrupt and crime-ridden city. While the DC Extended Universe film will feature multiple villains from the Dark Knight's Rogues Gallery, including Riddler, Penguin, Carmine Falcone, and Catwoman, as well as Jeffrey Wright's Commissioner Gordon. It is unclear if any of these actors will appear on the series. Oh, but that's the HBO Max. Following the recent announcement of the Batman, director Matt Reeves and Boardwalk Empire creator will helm a spin-off TV series. But what did they say about this fucking thing? Dude, I fucking hate comic book news. Yeah, this isn't even about the fucking movie. This is about a series coming to HBO Max. So
it's gonna be another Batman TV series.
It's a spin-off from the Robert Pattinson movie.
So is he going to be in it?
What?
Yeah. So following the recent announcement of the Batman, director Matt Reeves and Boardwalk Empire creator Terrence Winter will helm a spin-off TV series for HBO Max. It is now being reported that the show is going to be set before Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne takes up the mantle of Batman. So it's like Gotham for adults. I'm not interested. I'm a Batman fan, and I'll probably watch it, but I'm not interested. Like, I'm tired of seeing this fucking story. I want more Batman at the height of being Batman. You know, kind of like, to be fair, what Marvel's done with a lot of these characters, where, like, you just jump in with them being them. Spider-Man. You don't need to see the origin. Everybody knows who Spider-Man is.
Yeah, he was immediately Spider-Man when the movie started.
Correct.
I mean, we did get some origins movies, though.
Yeah, no, I know. But to be fair, I'm good with an origin movie here and there. Like, if you're going to introduce fucking Hawkman, give me an origin. Yeah. But, like, I don't need to see Batman's origin.
Ones.
Correct.
Yeah. Especially ones that have been in the movies.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So that's about all I got on that. We do have a couple questions. We have one that was sent to us via Twitter. So I am going to pull that up. All right. So it was from... real quick. What do you guys think about Comic-Con being done digitally?
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's a lot of anime cons that have been doing that. Like, companies would normally have a presentation at the cons, or having their presentation at the time that they would have normally have, except online.
Right. So shout out to Passive Bear, passive_bear on Twitter, to be fair. He says, thanks for the great episode and keeping work from home life sane since the Bud Ice has hit. Is there anything that used to be important that no longer is? Like a life priority shift where trivial things you used to hold in high regard no longer are that important? Due to COVID, I'm guessing.
Say it one more time, Bobby. I'm sorry. Say it one more time. I didn't catch all of it.
Is there anything that used to be important that no longer is? Like a life priority shift where trivial things that used to hold in high regard are no longer important?
I don't think so. Because, like, not for me. I'm different though. Like, most things aren't important to me anyway.
I'll tell you. Well, for me, it's like I have a lot of shoes, and I've literally wear the same pair of Adidas Ultra Boost every day. Like, they're literally about worn the Continental rubber off the bottom. But like, I'm never going to wear these shoes again.
Right.
I just am not. And And I like shoes. I still look at shoes. I still know what's coming out, but it's just like, why? I mean, I'm not gonna display them on the wall or anything and look at them like that. But I don't know. I mean, just in clothes in general, it's like I occasionally would just buy a shirt here and there, and I don't think I bought. I think the only clothes I bought since this was like Mezco's had T-shirts included with the figure releases, and it's just like I just can't be bothered. I'm like, well, like today I have on cut off sweatpants and a T-shirt with paint all over it, and I don't fucking care, and I'll wear this to the store. I don't care. Maybe my I don't know, priorities around that is what's changed.
I think for mine's almost the opposite. Like, I don't know. There is a couple things. Like, right before COVID was coming, I started kind of taking a little bit more pride in how I looked walking out the door. And now I definitely don't give a shit again.
Right.
But for the most part, I think my experience is the opposite. There's a lot of things that I think I took for granted and should have put higher on my priority that I didn't. And now I regret that. You know, like I miss having people over. I miss, like kind of things that I just took as a normal. Like my door would be unlocked, and throughout the course of the day, 3 or 4 people might stop by and just walk in and out. Like you're just sitting down in the basement, and you're like, "Oh, what's up, so and so?" And I'm not sure if I realized just how much that meant to me prior to this, but now kind of not seeing people and not having those interactions, like now I definitely will try not to take advantage of them, or take them for granted again.
Yeah.
And aside from that, I'm not sure if we have any more questions. Let me check real quick through the through the email. And we have a little bit of conversation that we can have because we got a little bit.
I remember there was last week you had a discussion that we didn't want
to. Okay, here we go. Kevin R. Shout out to Kevin R. He says, "Hey guys, no disrespect because I love you guys and America, but during the first 20 minutes of Hamilton on Disney Plus, all I could think about was Bobby's Eminem impression as I watched it." I turned to the wife and asked her, "Does this sound like a bad Eminem impression to you as they rap instead of talk?" She laughed, and after a few minutes, we started watching Netflix Unsolved Mysteries instead. Side note, one of the mysteries took place in Missouri, where I'm from.
Side note, I watched 2 or 3 more of that. So.
How is it? I only watched still the first one.
They were good. I mean, it's more of the same. I'm trying to remember the Missouri one.
I would love to know your thoughts on the Hamilton musical. Maybe I'm the only one, and it's just not my thing. I do love metal, the hard gangster shit, and 90s hip-hop, so I'm curious on your thoughts, Kevin R. I haven't seen it. I'll tell you why. I'm probably never going to see it because I don't like musicals in general. I don't think I've ever enjoyed a musical unless you want to count some of the Disney films as musicals.
favorite.
But like generally speaking, like I know that Hamilton is specifically musical heavy. Like the musical side of it is heavy. So like it's just I can't get into it. I can't like it's Sound of Music even. I can't get into it. Like it's something about the suspension of disbelief. I think that's why it works for me on Disney because it's a fucking cartoon, so I'm not really believing it anyway. But like when I fall into a film and I'm into the characters and I'm into the story, and then all of a sudden they're like, "It's a gray sky. The sky has never been this gray before. It has before. You forget the sky we had in early March." I'm like, no, I'm out. I'm all the way out.
It's a specific thing, though, right? I don't think that it's meant to be analogous to real life, like regular acting.
For sure,
drama.
For sure. It's a genre thing,
it's
right?
Not it's not your thing. You're not shitting on it. It's just not your thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get it. It's not for everybody.
Yeah, like when people are like, "Yeah, I don't like country music." You know, it's like I don't like musical films.
Yeah, makes sense.
What about you, Chris?
I haven't watched it, honestly. I had it in my mind to watch it, but I just haven't. Oh, speaking of movies, shout out to Gort. He sent me the What We Do in the Shadows movie that I said I hadn't watched, and if somebody wanted to send it to me, I would. So
Nice.
he also sent me a One Punch Man plushie.
Oh, nice.
Thanks, Gort. I will try to watch that here. I have to dust off some sort of digital media player to do it. I'm not a fan of musicals like most Disney movies. Like I just can you just tell me the story without singing about it? Yeah. But I get Hamilton was kind of a big deal when it came out because it was just something different. But I haven't watched it. I don't know. Probably would rather watch some more Unsolved Mysteries. Being honest.
So let's have this little discussion go out on. This is something that we talked about a bit off air, but like, so Joe, what year did you and I start hanging out? It was 2000.
First Go Fest,
which was 2015,
14.
Okay.
I think it was 14 because I just started my new job at the time. I think.
All right, and what
14 or 15, one or the other.
And what were you collecting in 2014?
I started third-party Transformer stuff. That's how I found you.
Right.
And I was always, I collected figures and 1/6 statues here and there, but I also didn't make that much money at the time. Like I started being a pharmacist, so yeah, that was about it. And some anime figures. Nothing notable or that I still have, but just a general collector of things.
Deadpool, I guess. You're kind of
that was what.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the 1/6 thing. Like it was before the quarter scale stuff. So like I had all the 1/6 Deadpool shit and all the figures and everything. Yeah.
And then Chris, we met 2016, whatever.
We had, like TFCon Charlotte. Was that 15?
I don't know. Let's say 15 is fine.
Yeah.
What? Wow.
What the hell?
Yes, God. What was what were you collecting then?
I was collecting 6-inch action figures and third party and Masterpiece Transformers.
All right, so I was doing Masterpiece Transformers, first and third party, and kind of Star Wars 3 3/4. I was starting to get into Black Series, I think, and then some Play Arts Kai. And that was pretty much the extent of what I was collecting. Now, here we are in 2020, and aside from quarantine, what else are you collecting, Joe, in 2020? 5 or 6 years later.
40K, surprisingly, because I had quit 40K at the time. I haven't done 40K in years when we met. But it was one of the things that drawn me to you, because you did do 40K on top of everything else. Quarter scale statues and anime figures. PVC figures.
Right. And Chris, what do you collect? Styrofoam.
Sorry. And also model kits, like Gundams and shit.
Okay.
Mostly PayPal transfers, but
machines.
Yeah, equipment. So Mezco, Mythic Legions, some specific 1,000 Toys stuff, some very specific Hot Toys stuff, and that's it. And I guess G.I. Joe, just random shit I see, but I'm not chasing shit around anymore. And that's a lot of, I'm not at retail chasing shit around like I was at one point.
And I'm collecting.
You haven't changed.
No, I've added, but
I've
added, yeah.
You added stuff.
I don't quit.
Oh, I see where we're going with this. Okay.
And I've added in, Hot Toys and
quarter scale now.
Quarter scale, Reveltech, Figuarts, fucking everything, right? So all of us at one point were collecting the same things and became friends, and we have remained friends. But now we are all collecting different things. What, if any, effect do you think that has? Anybody
on
our interpersonal relationship? And I'm using it kind of as a template for anybody out there, because I think most people's collections do gradually change over time. As far as I think there are very few people that just get in and stick with that one particular thing all the way through.
Right. I don't know.
I mean, we talk about unless on here we talk about collectibles less, because I remember we would on our regular private chat, we're like, oh, this is dropping, and then we talk about certain things, and we don't do that anymore because we're not interested in the same shit.
Because other people don't give a shit. I mean, like that does. I mean, it has an effect. Because I think that,
the overall volume of conversation has gone down just because we don't collect the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think like the relationship itself, for me anyway, changed. The way I feel about you guys hasn't changed.
Same, but I also think that there is another level of things that it ends up bubbling to the top, like because the baseline has changed. It's like the rhythm is different. So it's like where we used to talk about like what's coming out or what did you get, what are you excited about getting, what did you pre-order, what's the hey Chris, you got any update on when fucking this thing is going to come out? Haven't heard a thing, that kind of stuff. Those sorts of conversations don't really happen anymore. But the conversations that do happen are conversations about 3D printing, about
dioramas, lots of
dioramas, business, and entrepreneurship, creativity. Creative endeavors, all those sorts of things, kind of
lots of work in progress for all of us.
Correct.
What we're working on, yeah.
But it is like it is interesting to me how like if those common threads that people meet over begin to shift and change, will it ultimately always affect is collecting really not the baseline, I guess?
Well, I mean, I think it can. Like, I mean, I always find it weird when I meet couples who don't fucking share common interests. I'm like, why the fuck are you guys together? Sometimes,
right?
You know, what I mean? like where feel like they have separate lives. Like the traditional man cave, where like the dude literally just fucking goes to the basement and does his own thing while the chick does her own fucking thing. I'm like, what kind of fucking relationship is that?
Right.
So, but I guess that is a relationship. But the thing is, I've not lost friends, but like I've definitely drifted apart from friends just because of the lack of common interests like we used to have and we don't have anymore. Or like mostly it's because distance. Like regardless of anything, you guys are like fucking 15 minutes from me and 2 minutes away from me. Like that helps. But like I had friends where like they would live half hour, 45 minutes, and like we'd just stop inviting each other over because we would just sit around and watch TV. There's nothing common to do or talk about, then like, yeah, well, what is there left?
Right.
Like, well, of course, if they need help or whatever, I will stop by. Like it's not like I don't care about them anymore because I don't care about toys.
Right.
Relationship per se.
Right.
I mean, I'll use Jisk as a perfect example. I mean, I consider Jisk to be a good friend of mine, and I don't. Honestly, I was concerned. I'm like, man, how much am I going to talk to this dude going forward? Mainly because we're not in some of the same chats anymore. It's obviously we don't have the hobby in common anymore. Although I haven't collected what he collects in a long time.
Right.
And I think a lot of that is you just got to reach out and continue to converse with people. And look, I think most of us that are in our clique health, I'll say, have broken past the toy conversations anyway. So, life conversations, we're all essentially the same age and deal with a lot of the same struggles from, work. And Joe, I don't know if you know this or not, but you don't have kids. But, Bobby, you and I have children the same age mostly and a lot of the same concerns and issues with that. So I think there's a lot of commonality between us that is transverses the toy hobby.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And the fact that we're all creatives and we're all creators, we're all artists, if you want to call yourself an artist, whoever does, that we're making things that, didn't exist or whatever. I think that ties us together a lot as well.
Yeah, I agree.
And like even if we don't collect the same thing, like it helps. We're in the culture. We're in the nerd culture. We're fucking nerds, right? And we do collect things, even if they're not the same. So like that is still a common interest.
Right. Right.
It's not like you fucking all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'm not fucking watching comic book movies anymore. It's all football from now on.
Yeah,
then we might have a problem.
Well, it's funny because like when Tyler the collector, and I met. We both collected Masterpiece Transformers and had a bit of a kind of healthy rapport with one another. Then he sold all of his Masterpiece Transformers and got into Star Wars Hot Toys. I eventually got into Star Wars Hot Toys as well. And I would say that now our Venn diagram of interest is smaller than it used to be, but our level of communication and interaction is higher than it used to be. You know, so it's like an interesting shift in dynamics of common interest versus kind of common ground.
Yeah, and I mean, it also shows like whether you were really friends with someone to begin with, or you were just acquaintances, playmates. You know,
dude, playmates sounds wild.
Wow,
yeah, I agree.
That's fucking wild. Ticklebuck, motherfucker.
Yeah, that is wild as well.
But I mean, and there's nothing wrong with having acquaintances. You know, it happens.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like have relationships that like are only for for funsies. It's nothing deeper than that, and that's normal. You can't care about that many people, man. Well, I can't.
I don't think you. I think you can. I don't. Not you particularly. It's
A person can.
but
Yes.
a person can.
Yes.
I don't think you can give everyone that you'd like to the amount of time that you'd like to.
Yeah, your limited time is and like attention span is a really limited resource.
Correct. I think that's where things get a bit trickier. I think that like it is interesting just to think about how like when the three of us started talking together, it was the irregular collectors, and now it's like really irregular.
Right.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I think like I have no idea. Like I would like to think our relationship wouldn't be much different, but I can't imagine what it would be if we didn't podcast together. We didn't have a sit down 2 to 3 hour conversation every week.
yeah. I mean,
Where
I
we
think
talk less, when we drift apart. I have no idea, but like this definitely helps keep us together.
yeah.
Having
I
a
think
common
that's true.
thing that we do.
Well, especially now, because I mean, we can't even get together without it. We had kind of hit a pretty good rhythm there for a minute where we were getting together for the podcast and getting together like once a month for like a family dinner for all of us, and like,
Right.
and now that's fucking out the window. And
I do miss that. Like as much as
oh
I'm
my
not
god, dude,
an out person, like I do miss our get-togethers.
yeah, like and I like we would go over to Chris and Kelly's and we had the little New Orleans meal and come over to my house. We were making something and then, yeah, it was like and I think you guys were gonna do some sort of the ribs, like that was on the
Chris would bring over fried chicken sometimes or fucking
and I was really liking where that was heading and then and then now it's not that. So I think that the lack of common interest, so to speak, played less of a factor during no pandemic.
Yeah.
But with the pandemic, it does seem like it plays more of a factor, which is interesting. Like just to look at from the outside in, objectively, because you don't have those interactions as much. You don't have those hangout times where, it's not like we sit on the phone and talk, like just see what comes up. You know what I mean? But like if we were all like hanging out like on the couch, you might be, you might talk about something. The next thing you know, you're talking about this middle school teacher that was a fucking pain in the ass. And like that conversation evolves differently.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's all I really got on that, I guess.
Yep. No, that's good. I don't foresee anything.
Well, no, me neither.
Changing between us.
But I'm sure there's other people out there that have a circle of friends that are into kind of the same stuff, and then as time goes on, the interests change.
Yeah, maybe less now at our age, but definitely, like I went through groups of friends like in my 20s because everyone changes so much, at that time.
Right.
Like we're all basically pretty set in our ways. I don't think there's any drastic change we're gonna make with our personality and our interests that's gonna really change how we look at each other.
Right. Yeah. I don't think I got anything else. What is anything on the horizon for anyone that they're excited about getting?
What? other than my Madre cases.
Yeah.
I mean, I pre-ordered a bunch of I haven't pre-ordered that much stuff, man. Like, not that I'm not interested in stuff, but like it's more of a just fucking financial decision more than anything. Like, there's a lot of stuff I'm interested in, and then I have to sit back and say, how interested am I? Am I more interested in this figure or this statue than getting my house painted?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, I don't have unlimited funds. I have my one job, and that's all I got. So
I have. There's like the Mezco Nosferatu, which is a very crazy sentence to say. I got a notice today that my order's processed, so that's cool because I was involved in the photography aspect of that. So to get that, and their John Wick's finally shipping at the end of the month, so I'm excited to get that. Yeah, I mean, my problem is I think I crave the anticipation of getting something more than I crave the getting of something.
Right.
Because oftentimes I'll get something, I'm like I bought some Mythic Legions. Actually, they're Dark Elves, believe it or not, from BBTS, which I paid extra to get quicker shipping, but it took them like 6 fucking days to ship it. Anyways, and I was like, all right, I got it. It's here. Now I have to open it. And it was just like a drain. So
like, you just like buying things.
maybe.
Not actually
maybe I would
Yeah.
like to stimulate the economy.
Like I have a number of things pre-ordered, and some big items and some smaller items. But like, it's funny. Some of the stuff I've been most excited about recently has been on the smaller end. I was really excited about this strong guy, so to speak. I was really excited about some of the Black Series stuff, and I was really excited about the Storm Collectible stuff. And that's not exactly super low end, but it's lower than a fucking $1,000 statue. You know what I mean? And I think I've been excited about where my collection is getting in terms of its sort of proper place and its final form. But yeah, it's funny. I've found myself getting more appreciating all of it, but getting more excited about some of the more really random stuff at the cheaper levels. Than some of the really nice stuff at the higher levels.
I mean, it's more about curating your collection, right?
Yeah.
For me, 9th just dropped 9th edition Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, so that's gonna come in next week. I'm excited. I've always had a fucking kind of love-hate or love-dread relation with 40K, not just because of the company, but the hobby itself. It's like, I'm super excited. All these new scopes, all these new things look fucking great. But like, for me, it's not something I can buy and like I haven't put up. Like, I buy them and they're fucking in boxes until I do something with them, and it's so much work.
Yeah.
And even if to get a commission, it's like there's too much money. Like, I would get someone to paint my shit if I could fucking afford to do that and buy the toys. You know what I mean?
When you say that 9th edition is coming this week, what does that mean? Is it a book? Is it a box set? Is it a box set?
It's a box set. It's a new starter box with the basic rules, and then a bunch of new figures, which all look amazing.
What armies are in the box set?
It's of course Space Marines,
right.
The primary Space Marines, the guys that I like, and Necrons. The fucking Necrons are looking amazing now. Like, they started off as Terminator knockoffs,
right?
But now they're just fucking future Egyptian killer robots, and they're fucking beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, they're like increased the amount of scopes and range and characters like double.
That's awesome.
And bring a bunch of like characters that's been mentioned for 20 years actually out,
right.
and motto and lore form that's just been speculated. So yeah, it's been a very exciting time. Except that I have to build them and put them together.
Nice. So with that,
I think Games Workshop is here's something. So they oversold, right? Supposedly oversold for 9th ed. Like, fucking, we were talking about before Warhammer 3D printing hurting them. They're not hurting this fucking edition. The pre-order was this past Saturday. It was like I sold out before the official pre-order went up because people was already been asking stores and to hold stuff with them.
right.
So the stores are complaining now because Games Workshop was like, Yeah, we don't care how much you pre-ordered. We're cutting it down to like I don't know what the number, 50 or 100, some shit like that. They're like everyone's getting 50 and no more. And I don't care how much you order. But they're also online putting out like, you can order directly from us and we'll make them to order. So what it is pretty obvious that they're cutting out the middleman. They're giving the store stuff, but they're keeping stuff for themselves to sell since it's higher profit, which is fucking shady as fuck.
Right.
And part of the reasons a lot of people don't like the business aspect of Games Workshop.
Yeah, I can relate.
Scalpers, boxes are so the box is $200, right? Retail, like some of us that has people in the know or office, I get through Adam, I get for $150, which is fucking amazing, 25% off. But so retail is $200, and people are buying them off eBay for $500.
Right.
Like selling out, right? And then immediately, like the day after people were buying them for $500, is when Games Workshop announced, like, yeah, you can buy them from us. It'll just be a little more while. Just shitting on everybody.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that business issues in Games Workshop are exclusive to each other in any way, shape, or form. I've ever since it went from kind of, I guess, Citadel to
to the small private hobby company to a corporate.
Yeah, that's when it started to change for me.
Yeah.
But they make great shit. So
yeah, they
awesome.
Do. Can't fault them for that.
Shout out to the rest of the Cool Table Network, Shadowcast Uncut, Into the Realm, Stasis Lock, Toy Detox, Building Up to It, Breaking the Mold, Fresh Communications, and Verbally Challenged. And shout out to the rest of the Nerd Rage team, Raul on Instagram, Dante the Destroyer on Facebook, Maryland Phil on Twitter, and in our notes. And
Phil's foot in our fucking chat.
Yeah.
His healing mangled foot.
Hope he's recovering well.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers to his feet.
Yeah. You had to pray like with your feet together, the bottom of your feet together.
That's wild.
Have you seen pictures of the couples holding feet?
No, I don't want to see that. Shout out to Manny, who I haven't spoken to in a while. I need to talk to him. But shout out to Gort and everybody helped me with the Force stuff, Andy and all that. So I don't think I missed anybody. If I did, I'll get you next time.
Hey, I've got something real quick.
Yeah.
If you go to realmcollectors.com, there's some merch you can buy. Shout out to JD and Chan for putting that together. It's all that New York Mike. It's a really cool design that JD came up with. It's like a ghost Jedi. It's Mike, and all the proceeds are going to go to his family, to his son. His son has some needs that financially is going to be challenging. So there's a lot of cool stuff on there. They've got anything from a coffee mug to a hoodie. And all the proceeds are going to go to help support Mike's son. So it's at realmcollectors.com. They're doing a pre-order, and once they've got the orders together, they're going to produce the stuff and get it out to everybody. So just make sure you check that out, realmcollectors.com.
And he had his wake and funeral this week, I believe.
Yeah, rest in peace to Mike.
Rest in peace to Mike. And then I got to start the second phase of that, and that's gotten more complicated also. But we'll talk about that another time. Otherwise, I think that'll do it.
With that, flap your labius.
Tasty taint.
Tight Dick Player.